Well, how would you like to become a property investor in minutes for less than $100?
Well, one company is giving buyers the chance to purchase small parts of a property and own their own slice of the great Aussie dream. Weekend Sunrise reporter Jessica Tancred finds out how.
After about 4 months of looking at open homes and talking to real estate agents, we just found it too hard.
Like many young people, Stephen Farah has been priced out of the property market.
It's always the dream of when I grow up, I'll own my home, it's got the nice pool, I've got the dog, you know, it's a happy lifestyle. And it's something that is almost unachievable at the moment.
But now he's one of our newest property investors, buying a fraction of this apartment on Sydney's North Shore. This is how it works.
We buy selected residential properties, then split their value into 10,000 bricks.
So how many bricks do you own?
I own about 8 bricks, which are right up there on the second level.
An investment that set him back $1,000, but has given him bragging rights. So now you can claim that you're an investor.
We can, it's a happy moment.
BrickX is a brand new initiative which breaks down the barriers preventing people from getting on the property ladder.
BrickX is effectively an online platform made available to all Australians, allowing them to buy and sell bricks or units within a property without having to front up a lot of the upfront costs.
So you could start driving your property portfolio for as little as a tank of petrol.
The lowest priced brick on our platform at the moment is for a unit in Enmore, where the current brick price is $67. So for $67, you could become a property investor within minutes.
Homeowners earn money on any capital returns, as well as rent.
The Mossman property that we've got on the platform at the moment has a net rental yield of 2.77%.
That means Stephen, who owns 8 bricks at $140 each, will earn $31 in rent. If the property's value goes up as it has over the last 5 years, Stephen's bricks could also get a boost of $10, giving him a total annual return of $112.
The con is that I really don't have any influence over that property.
Financial advisor Melissa Brown says investors need to be aware of the risks.
You might like the idea of driving past a house in Mossman and saying, I own that house, but you own a little piece of it and you're only allowed to own 5%, which means you really have no say in what happens with that house. So should it have renovations, you can't actually decide if those renovations should take place. You can't decide if it should be sold or not.
Some critics might call this a gimmick. What would you say to that?
I think we're solving a real social need here. I don't think that this is a gimmick at all. What we're doing is we're almost replicating traditional property investment in its understandable form and making it accessible to everyone.
A new way to invest in bricks and mortar, but yet to be proven as safe as houses. Well, for more on this, we're joined by Andrew Wilson from the Domain Group. Morning to you, Andrew. What do you think? BrickX, is it a gimmick?
Well, maybe not a gimmick, but it certainly reflects that increasing interest that Australians are having in residential property investment. I don't think it'll have a lot of demand, but we are seeing rising numbers of Australians, particularly mums and dads, getting involved in the marketplace. We've had a big surge over the last 3 months in investor lending, and I think property investment will be the future. Maybe schemes like this will be at the margin, but I think that such actions as self-managed super funds will become more readily accessible, those funds, for property investment. So yes, growing market, but bricks, yeah, I'm not sure if it's a real property investment.
It seems more like just a small-scale investment scheme to replace, say, fluttering on the stock market than a property investment scheme as such.
Well, it looks more like a stock market play, doesn't it? That you're trading your shares. Of course, you don't have a large say in what happens to the property.
Yeah,
you probably
get
marginal
on the open market.
And it's not like if you have your own investment property, which you can go to the bank and then get some liquidity out of that pretty quickly.
Now, Andrew, of course, you're in the real estate game, so it's in your interest for a boom to continue. However, there's a report out of the US that says that we are heading for a big property crash in the next 6 weeks.
Well, look, the boom has ended, and I think the positivities for Australian housing markets are that they have moderated, so we don't have that bubble talk anymore. I think it's a very heroic prediction that in 6 weeks' time, Melbourne Cup weekend, we're going to see a big crash in the market. We won't, we're still a very robust and resilient housing market.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, we're more robust and resilient.
So the changes to the foreign ownership laws won't affect us too much?
No, and I think that it's about local activity rather than international activity that keeps our housing markets quite well balanced, and the future will prove to be stable as it has in the past.
If, hypothetically speaking, the property market did crash, then, like any other form of property investment, if you invested in bricks, for example, the value of that would plummet, right?
Well, of course, but look, I think that we're really looking at extremes. We just don't have a history of steep declines in housing market activity, and if anything, we're going to see a much more moderate cycle going forward, much more predictable and certain. I think that's a good thing. But the real issue in our housing markets is we don't have any first home buyers anymore. So we need to address that.
No one can afford it. All right, thank you very much.
Monique.
Good to see you. All right, it is news time.